anything, her uniquely hoarse and slightly rough voice that was like a grain of time sounded indifferently. I believe even a Grand Rune Master would definitely have made 3 to 5 mistakes by now. Richard immediately felt relaxed, heaving a long sigh. He was about to explain that this was the first time he was drawing a rune on someone else's body, but to his surprise Flozand continued, "But you really shouldn't have made a mistake like this." All explanations were forced back in his throat. Flozand then continued, "Actually, you can look as you wish. You can touch if you want to as well." If these words could be considered powerful blows, her last ones were the ultimate, "anytime you want." That's not what I meant." Richard suddenly felt his gift of wisdom leaving him. She smiled, "It's fine even if you did mean it. You'll look and touch in the future anyway. Once you're more used to it, you won't mind much." Richard found himself speechless once more, and decided to just not explain as he continued his work. However, since he could, he stole a few more glances at Flozand's breasts before he continued. As expected, that was effective. He reached a third of the way through the rune as planned, making no more mistakes. Richard looked up after finishing the last line, his gaze naturally landing on Flozand's chest as he praised, "Very beautiful." Flozand straightened her back as she answered, "They're also springy. Want to give it a try?" And thus, Richard suffered a complete defeat. By the time he was done stowing away his materials and tools, Flozand had put on her clothes. He immediately sighed in relief, feeling that the priestess exerted much less pressure when she was dressed. Flozand waved the notes in her hand. "All these notes, are you planning on taking on some of the people of this plane?" Richard nodded. "That's essential. It's impossible for us to take over an entire plane with such small numbers." Flozand looked at one of the pages, 3 knights and 9 warriors. "Why isn't that priest in here?" Richard froze. "He's a priest of Nin. There's faith in the equation now, how could we bring him over?" Flozand smiled, "Already 25 or 26, but still only level 3. His devotion is obvious, and it makes him the best person to take in. Someone of faith cannot go back once they give up on their god. Once the time comes, his head will be a bigger priority than ours."